The lesson for the day comes from the book of Genesis, the second creation story. I've taken some minor liberties with the phrasings. God took the he-man and set him down in the Garden of Eden to work the ground and to keep it in order. God commanded the he-man, "You can eat from any tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Don't eat from it. The moment that you eat from that tree, you're dead." God said, "It's not good for the he-man to be alone. I'll make him a helper, a companion." So God formed from the dirt of the ground all of the animals of the field and all of the birds of the air. He brought them to the he-man to see what he would name them. Whatever the he-man called each living creature, that was its name. The he-man named the cattle, named the birds of the air, named the wild animals, but he didn't find a suitable companion. God put the he-man into a deep sleep. As he slept, he removed one of his ribs and replaced it with flesh. God then used the rib that he had taken from the he-man to make a woman and presented her to the he-man. The he-man said, "Finally, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, I will call her woman, for she was made from he-man." This is the lesson for the day, and by the Spirit's work among us, it becomes a word from the Lord. Thanks be to God. First, a little preface before the main point of the commentary. I need to clean up a few things in the text. I looked in Oxford's English Dictionary for the etymology, the origin of the word man, woman, and human. And I thought it was interesting. The word man, M-A-N-N, appears first in extant writing somewhere around 1300s. And shortly after that, you see the word wifman, W-I-F-M-A-N, as if wifs were appendages to the man. I don't think women are appendages, but men thought so back then. If a woman really came from a man's ribs, my question is, why aren't children brought into the world from the men? The text says that she came from a man, not that she belonged to the man. And he had dominion over her. He did not have dominion over her like he did the animals. She was a companion, a compadre. Interesting that in the 1400s, wifman and man were nouns. But the word humain, H-U-M-A-Y-N, was an adjective to being, human beings. We are all human beings. We are beings like animals that have a different quality of being human. There are two different stories, actually myths. Let's get that clear. It didn't happen in 7 literal days. Abraham was not born on October the 10th. Is that right? Yeah, that's what, 4004 BC, right? I thought, those of us who grew up in a Scofield Reference Bible world, so it didn't happen that way. And the reason they have these myths is there was no one there in the beginning to see how it happened. We just got to be honest about that. Maybe that's when we first could have realized that men sometimes don't know what they're talking about when they make up stories. Different stories, but the same point. Humans are the final act in the first story. God did all the creating and as a climax, put the man there. And then in the second story, the man's the first to be created, And then all of the other animals were created so he wouldn't be lonely. More importantly than either of those points is the fact that God did the creating. That was the point of the myths to the Hebrews. They took old myths from all points in the world and injected God into the myths because it was their understanding that God had made it and God owned it. The whole cosmos was made out of nothing. It was created. And creating is different than making. I was a little boy when my father explained that to me in his shop. He said, "Son, we take stuff and we make something out of it." When God made the world, he took nothing and made stuff out of nothing. It's different. God has ways in spirit to do things that we can't imagine. Psalm 24 says, the earth belongs to God, all of it, the cosmos, all of it. It's an astounding insight. Humans did not make the place. We can all agree on that. It's an amazing place. It's a fantastic design. It's beauty that gives us definitions beyond words for beauty. We are dumbstruck at how beautiful the world can be. And the human, as the adjective, that great and different quality